Yo!
Hey. Hello, my brother.
What's going on, man?
Nada, I haven't seen you in person in like a minute.
It's been a hot minute.
It has. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time at the Apothecary. I'm TQ. This is my brother, JQ. We're talking to you live from Merz Apothecary and smallflower.com here in Chicago. We use this time whenever we have it to catch up with each other, have a cup of tea, connect with customers, talk to guests, talk wellness, shoot the you know what, whatever we're feeling, right? So we hope you're doing well, taking care of yourself. Thank you for joining us today. Jay, what's up?
It's Friday. It's kind of a slog of a week. I don't know. It was just like one of those. It felt like I was moving through molasses the whole time, and yet flying by and not enough time. John is with us. What's up, John?
Hey, John. Yeah, for me, I wouldn't say molasses. The going fast part felt fine. I felt like it was, I don't know. I was
Maybe I
just,
had molasses in my brain or something. I don't know.
yeah, for me, it was more like I had fire in my brain, I felt like I was on fire and I was mad. There was a lot of anger and frustration this week. So I'm happy to be on Friday. I'm happy that it's Friday afternoon. I'm happy to have a cup of tea with you. I've been having all kinds of things. It's amazing, right? Like how things can, and I know it while it's happening, but how they can feel frustrating and bad
Mm.
like one day, and the next day you're like, everything's feeling pretty good. And I'm like, there's nothing that has changed that I can point to from the day before. Like I wasn't mad because of anything in particular. I was just
It's you,
chemically,
man. It's you.
chemically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, out of balance. You know what I mean? And the next day I was back in balance and life was good. So yeah. Anyway.
We touched on these. We're going to be talking about some tea, some original tea blends by from Merz today.
Yeah.
And we touched on them at Christmas time because of the colors. They were nice.
Yeah. We did. And I feel like you always get the red one and I always get the green one. I'm kind of mad at
You
you.
know,
I'm angry again.
I don't really like to mess with. I'm feeling so dry lately. I don't want to add more tea. That I feel so dry after I drink tea right now that I'm trying to stay away from caffeinated tea for a minute.
Does the green one have green tea? I'm looking at it. 1 second. Let me just see. I don't think it does.
Oh, okay.
No, it's echinacea, nettle, holy basil, lemon balm, peppermint, rosemary, thyme, and astragalus. It's a dope blend.
Ooh, nice. I didn't realize.
Lisa, our tea
I
lady,
thought there was a
killed it.
little pinch of green, actual green tea in there because that's also very good for you. So I didn't know,
Yeah.
you know.
Anyway, hey, you know what? Normally I'm always telling you to turn down your mic. Can you turn it up a touch?
Hmm.
I don't know if it's because my volume seems like it's okay, but you sound a little soft to me.
How's that better?
Yeah, dog. Anyway, I love that shirt, by the way. Your leafy shirt makes me happy.
Um,
I've
Leafy.
always I've always been a little jealous of that shirt, I gotta say.
I don't think it's fancy or anything. It's
No,
just
it's just like I don't have a leaf t-shirt, you
I know,
know?
but I when I bought it, I was like, T would definitely co-sign on this shirt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Personal guarantor.
yeah.
Can I also say while you were on that topic, the idea of I think part of your challenge in life,
Mine. Oh, thank
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah, and just part of your challenge in life is you stay away from green tea, but you need more of it. I just want to throw that out there that I think you've miscalculated everything.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for telling me who I am and how I feel. I appreciate that.
No, I'm just telling you what's good for you. It's what
Hi,
older brothers. It's what older brothers do, man.
bye, T. Hi, Mary Josephine. Thanks for joining us. Haven't seen you in a while. Um,
Yeah.
so let's talk about this. I think that what's cool, like we don't have to get into the nitty gritty, but the new software for the store is interesting because we're able to create bundles, and little bundles of goods that are like, hey, here's our favorite this, this, and this, and we can bundle them together into a special deal. Um, so one of the things that we created, one of our first bundles, is this red and green immunity tea bundle, right?
Yep. I'm sort of. It doesn't look like a fancy bundle. It's not fancy. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I don't what fancy. What who cares about fancy?
Well, I'm saying, like, so when you hear bundle, you're like, oh, is it in a cute thing with a bow? This is just the product. So
No, it's just for people who like
immunity
actual good
support the red blend, immunity support the green blend. We'll talk about what's in them in a second. And then because these are loose teas, this is 100 tea filters, right? And they're great.
I love it.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is what, $20, right?
The whole thing is $20. So it's a little savings on buying them all separately. And you get, like, you can kind of like support your immunity by color or by herb choice.
I think it's
flavor.
worth talking for a second about what immunity kind of just like mentality behind immunity. Like, I think we have a hard time, at least in this country, and probably most of the Western world at least, it's like it's just difficult to prioritize preventative health, you know? I think that everyone struggles with it. You don't really, even change in general is a lot of times, like even down to political change and everything, it's when something gets bad is when you get the fire lit under your butt, and that's when you're like, oh, we need to change something. But I think that it's worth noting that maybe it can be good for your stress level to avoid such a crisis by using a little bit a day in a preventative action,
Yeah. Well said. I think that's true.
I don't know if it was well said, but it was definitely well intentioned.
Well, good point. Good point.
I'll take that. I was like, I'm not finding words.
That long meandering speech was well said. No, I think you're right. Yes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, might be a well said way to say that, right?
Yeah, I like that.
that. But yeah,
I like the metric system. So I'm like, a gram is worth a kilo.
Yeah, something like that. A milliliter of prevention. Anyway, I think because I'm thinking volume. It's not weight. You're filling up this much cure. It's like this. Anyway.
Pounds?
Yeah.
You definitely said pounds. You didn't say a liter. A quart.
True. True. Yeah, but I'm switching. Since you pointed out the flaws, I'm switching up the whole paradigm right now.
Nice. I like it. Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're on the same page.
You can lead a horse to water, but the dish ran away with the spoon. You know what I mean?
Yep. Totally. Yeah.
No, but for real.
Like we're turning into Yogi Berra sayings right now. It's like we just need to pull up the Yogi Berra sayings.
No, it's true though. Like I think that you can get something in when you think of it like food. Like I see a lot of people taking their vitamins on a daily basis, but like, protection, fortification is like a slightly different take on that same daily routine, that I think is important. That's why I'm trying to eat more mushrooms after our talk with the guy from Host Defense. and I'm eating and trying to get my kids to eat it. I'm putting it in food. I'm trying to eat them 3 times a week. I'm taking that spray. You know,
Yeah.
um,
After that, I have to say my mushroom, uh, my mushroom wonder grew when I read the novel Mexican Gothic, but it made it a little harder to be like, let me pack as many mushrooms into everything I do as possible. Um, I won't say more than that, other than if you want to read a great novel, if you're checking this out, that is
so creepy.
just creepy as all get out.
It's
And
like beautiful, creepy, sexy,
yeah,
it's
it's awesome. It's called Mexican Gothic. I highly recommend it. Just a good read.
and
It,
there's
you
like a
know,
mycology element to it that's really interesting and awesome.
yeah. It's a sizzler to get you through the rest of the winter. You know what I mean? Like it's a perfect February, March kind of book.
And I guarantee that's going to be a huge movie. So if you want to like have read the book before it comes out, it's going to be and it'll be a great movie. I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not someone who always reads books that get turned into movies, but I'm always like sort of proud when I read a book years ago and then everyone's like, it's this new movie came out. I'm like,
right.
I've been on that for so long.
I've
You
been
know?
about that.
Yeah. I think it became a movie because I was talking it up. Anyway, that's usually what I'm thinking.
I like the early stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, but yes, so mushrooms, I agree. Just taking care of yourself in general. My version of that lately, and I told Rachel, is like, I'm going to try to get 8 hours of sleep at least like 2 or 3 times a week. Like I probably live, I say I'm sleep matters, and it does to me. Like I'm pretty serious about it. But just the reality of having two teenagers and like running a business is that like I don't usually get to sleep before 11:30 midnight, and I'm up, early enough that it's like 6.5 is sort of probably average, 7 is good. But I realized like that was part of when I joked about being angry this week. I think part of it was I just didn't, I had too many nights of like 6.5 hours of sleep in a row. And
Yeah,
I
you
was
can't do
just
it.
sort of like my operating system was fried. You know what I mean? I needed like a defrag and a reboot.
Yeah, I was reading recently about this crazy thing. It's a crazy thing, but a 28-hour day cycle. It puts you at 7 days. It puts you back on the same track as everybody every 7 days, but you stay up for a longer time and then you sleep at slightly odd times sometime. And I was thinking about trying it for a week at some point. Not like this week, but like eventually I would like to try it. It's kind of interesting.
Well, I
I
mean,
recommend you
you
look
can
it
tell
up.
me about it. I think for those of us who have like jobs that are on a schedule, that's pretty hard to do.
I don't know if anyone has a job like that anymore.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's said from the basement of your house, your studio basement. Um,
Anyway, it's just kind of interesting to look because there are there's a lot of writing about different types of sleep cycles, uh, and if you're like creative at night, it's a way to get some of your week so that you can be in solitude without distractions, without phone calls. Is the concept, is to give you some time where you can handle things where other people need to be awake as well, and then you get some time where no one's going to bother you because it's just everyone's shut it down.
I mean, I actually agree with that. Like, I don't know if it's a 28-hour cycle, but for me, I feel like part of the reason I often end up working late is sometimes just I have stuff to do that needs to get done that night. But other times I intend to leave earlier, and then I get like this calm zen from like 5:30, 6 o'clock till 7:30, 8 o'clock, where it's like, oh, everyone's gone, everything is done, and I just get to get ahead. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
You
that
know,
feels so good.
it's not something actually like I didn't think I could pull it off in my life. Actually, I was thinking of you with like your kids are older.
Yeah.
You could, you don't have to like wake them up and get them dressed and stuff. There's not like, so like you
No,
could actually experiment with it, which is, I was kind of reading it for you. So
Cool. Thanks. No,
Um,
it's a good point. I definitely feel like it's time for me to sort of be more loose with my schedule in order to get more done, actually.
Yeah, and I'll show you I'll share with the thing with you, and if you think it's cool, we can share it with everybody. But there's like a little tentative schedule layout, and it's
I say
like,
you just post it up and share with
yeah,
everybody else.
I gotta find it, but but I'll share it with you.
Cool.
Hey, what does your tea taste like? I want to just talk about the tea again for a second.
Yeah, no, I do too. Well, let's talk about what it's. I always feel like the first thing you got to do when you have tea is talk about what it smells like, because to me that's part of the joy of tea, getting this aroma every time I go to take a sip.
You're drinking the green, right?
Yeah, I wanted to drink the red, but I was told you were drinking the red,
Hey, man, you don't own me.
don't I?
I mean,
Um, it's so. First of all, it smells wonderful. It smells. There is, there's like a touch of spirit of peppermint in there, and holy basil has that kind of mintiness too. But it's such a touch. I think we've talked about this before that it's not a minty tea, but there's a
it's a
hint of it
cool
there.
green tea, though,
It's
right?
just a hint of coolness amidst like the more kind of leafy herbal nettle kind of aroma, right? So echinacea and nettle generally have kind of more of that traditional like herbal leaf kind of flavor, right? Herbally kind of green, grassy, leafy kind of scent. And but it's like so you have that, and then the thyme gives it a hint of spice. But again, it's like it's not overly. It's not like whoa, that's a spice tea. It's not. It's just like there's a perfect touch of peppermint, perfect touch of this holy basil, some rosemary, some thyme, but it doesn't taste like a kitchen tea, if that makes sense. Like it's not like, oh, I'm drinking the fresh herb container. It's like in a good way. It's not. That can be fun, but this feels like more of a true blend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I think that bravo to Lisa. I think that
Yeah,
you know, she has a really good palate for balance, you
yeah,
know?
for sure, for sure. Lisa, props to you. Yeah, she has. This is clearly a calling for her.
This one is like you get all of those great like red kind of red zingy notes from hibiscus and rosehip and
Yeah,
lemongrass. Um, but the rose petal rounds it out, gives it a little floral, and the elderberry is kind of zingy too. And then the elderflower really gives it like a wet earthiness that keeps
mm.
it from being like sharp and zing, like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's like
yeah.
zing tea, like
Yeah, well, no, yeah,
celestial.
like it's a brand like Red Zinger and Lemon
Yeah,
Zinger.
zinger, lemon zinger. It's like a celestial
Yeah,
seasoning.
yeah, yeah.
Like it
I feel
keeps
like,
it from going
yeah,
into like red zinger territory. And then the
it,
other,
it has its place, but I feel like mainly its place is back in the 80s when it became hot, you know?
or like iced mixed with something, I could see, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm teasing. I'm just saying, like, that's when I learned about it, right? It was like 80s or something.
But like, but after that, like, then there's like orange peel at the end, which gives it like a non-red zing, just
Yeah.
gives it a little different kind of citric, this different acid.
Yeah,
And
orange
then
peel has that like bitter spice kind of.
yeah, but like that earthiness of the elderflower then completely rounds it out. So it never gets like zippy on the sides of your tongue, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then
Well, there's ginger in it.
the best part about it is there's ginger root. And I don't know, it's the last ingredient, so it must be maybe the least amount. But it makes the tip of your tongue just a little bit numb. The
Ah,
Like
that's
and
cool.
that could be the elderberries too.
Yeah.
Like berries tend to do that. When I've taken elderberry or schizandra berry, like in an extract format, they give you a little like fuzzy numbness on your tongue sometimes. So I think part of that is like there's a little late bite from the ginger and a little like zip on the tongue from the elderberries, and it's just awesome.
Awesome. That's great. I'm going to read the ingredients. Hibiscus, red roses, rose hips, elderberry, elderflower, lemongrass, orange peel, ginger root. It's great. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Again, we'll post it up, but the bundle, if you want to try them all and have a nice have nice filter bags that are meant for loose leaf tea. They're open top. They're easy to just drape over your cup or your your mug. And they also, as I mentioned before, you can like just preload them and take them on a trip or even stick them in a bag. They're weighty enough that they're not just going to tear open like a weak filter. So like you could stick it in a pocket of a jacket and then just like drop it in your tea, and you don't have to carry around plastic bags. Like I hate bringing plastic bags if I don't have to. So I so often, like on a morning, I'm going out, load up a tea bag with whatever I'm going to drink. That
and just throw it in your coat pocket.
Stick it in my coat pocket, folded.
Yeah, as long as it's in its own pocket, it seems.
Yeah, and I find that the coat pocket lint gives like often a nice,
like
a numbness right here,
like a nutty Edam cheese kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And as you were talking about the numbness, I for some reason that popped into my head was Better Off Dead when he's snorting snow. Do you realize the street value of this mountain?
Yeah. Speaking, I think you're just getting excited about skiing. That's what it is.
You think? 100%. I have new ski boots over there, and they're in a box. I can't even see them, but like I've looked over there like 200 times today at like a pile of boxes. Like, ah! Yeah.
Mary Josephine says she's diffusing myrrh and drinking peppermint tea. Nice.
Ooh. Yeah, myrrh is good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has a ton of uses, which is probably why they brought it to the baby Jesus, right?
Yeah. 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 Anyway, what else new, Jay?
Nothing, man. It's pizza night. Kids finished another Harry Potter book, so we're watching number 5.
You reading it to both of them?
I don't know. I don't read anything. I don't know. Renata is reading to all the kids. Like they just sit around on the couch and read Harry Potter.
So like even Amina's like, she's on book number 5.
She's about it. Yeah. She's like, he who must not be named. Yeah. So, and this is like the point. I read all the books a long time ago, I remember, but I like burned through the last few because I was kind of like, I need to get through this series. And then I think like I dropped off the movies at around 4. So this will be kind of new for me too.
Yeah. I don't think I've watched all the movies. But the books I really loved. I read them with Sappy many years ago.
Yeah, they're great.
It was over a decade ago, I think, that we started them and probably finished them not long thereafter. And she's read them many times again. And recently, Nola and I don't read as much anymore. Now that she's a teenager, she's too cool for dad, but she wants to. And she said, like, maybe we should read Harry Potter. So I don't know, maybe we'll read them again together. I wouldn't mind. But I remember, like, I mean, I'm an emotional person with books in general, but like, I'm just a huge fan of that series. And that last book, I was just like, broke me down, Yeah, it was great.
So that's my evening.
I think we're having, no, actually we're not. We are going to have a grain-free veggie lasagna, but I think we're just doing leftovers, hodgepodge leftovers.
Nice. I tried something new with my pizza crust. I'll let you know how it goes. I'm always kind of tinkering.
Yeah, Jay, for everyone who doesn't know, does a grain-free pizza crust, and he's sort of the pizza chef of the family. And he's pretty much, it's a serious pizza that if you didn't know, you'd be like, how can you get a crispy crust like this that's grain free? It's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. I took some elements of a book called Wheat Belly out there, and then I replaced some based on substitutions I make based on the plant paradox diet. And then I took like sort of his bagel recipe is recently what I've been doing because I realized that all the New York spots, like pizza and bagels, is like that's why it's so good, is like they're using the same kind of dough for those things, you know?
Mm.
And so I started to look at like grain-free bagels and see if I could kind of implement some of that into the pizza crust to give it a little bit more of that yeasty, chewy feeling while
Yeah,
not losing any crispiness, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, Mary Josephine, I'm using it's almond flour. Tonight I'm doing tapioca. I've also done arrowroot. I've tried cassava. I think tapioca is my favorite so far. And then it also uses buttermilk with a little rapid rise yeast and then a bunch of egg whites that are whipped up. And then I mix all of that together with some salt and a little baking powder. And actually, there's some cold milled ground flaxseed in it too, which gives it that sort of, seedy kind of cornmealy. It kind of gives you that cornmealy flavor, that you want from like a good Barnaby's kind of pizza. Um,
Yeah.
uh, if you're in Chicago, then you'll know what I mean, maybe. Or Armand's, they do that kind of dusted cornmeal crust, and it's just like yeast, a little yeasty. And I'm trying to like recreate. I'm trying to get there. That's what I'm trying to get to. But we'll do it with pesto and buffalo mozzarella, and I'm doing like roasted shiitake all over it. So it's gonna be good. All right,
Oh, you're making me hungry, brother.
check out the immunity teas. We'll see you next week. We're hoping to have a musical guest back on, and we're hoping to make Swedish Bitters Part One, and then we'll
Yeah.
come back 3 weeks later with Part Two to test out the bitters and drink them and try them.
Yeah, and also I want to put in a request that we do that pizza episode we've been talking about with your crust because I just want to eat pizza.
Yeah, should we I wonder if we should bring Demo back from Demo's Pizza and make him try the pizza with us,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'll talk to Dimitri. I think he's the kind of guy, he's such an experimenter. Maybe he can bring a version too, and we could do a trade-off. That would be fun, right?
Yeah.
Give him the parameters and let him and see if he wants to make something.
Alicia's asking what's Swedish Bitters. So Swedish Bitters is a blend of, this one is 22 herbs,
I don't remember the number.
something like that. Anyway, a blend of herbs that's been used for hundreds of years in Western Europe, and we started carrying it at Merz, and we have our newest formula for the loose Swedish bitters is a really beautiful, awesome formula from this that's based on the teachings of this woman Maria Traben, who's like a folk herbalist from Austria,
Yeah.
and she has a lot of
And she's not
German,
alive anymore.
yeah, she had a lot of German ties to Dr. Tice, who is a family friend of ours, and we all have been drinking nettle tea and Swedish bitters for decades now, and I've actually never made it myself. I've always bought the liquid, so we're gonna try following the directions, and it's not hard. I mean, it's you put the herbs in, you pour in the vodka, and that's it.
It just takes some time, like to do it the right way, to get the strength that you want. I think it takes like what 3-4 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, 21 to 28 days. So we'll.
So if you don't want to wait and do that, you can watch us do it, but we can link up the bottles because that we sell it in liquid already made.
And this version of the bottles is I've been drinking. I've probably had 6 different types of Swedish bitters because all the formulas are like slightly different and they're based on availability of herbs. But this one, with Maria's picture on it, is the best one I've tried so far, and we're just like loving that one. So it's been helping me just digestion wise. I just take a little sip of it every day, and I feel great. That's cool that you're Swedish and German. So it is like kind of a German product.
Oh,
And it's
geez.
called Swedish Bitters, right?
Yeah, you have to. Schweden bitter. You have to try it. It's the
Yeah,
best.
it was actually invented by Dr. Samst, right? Who was like an old Swedish doctor, and and I think he was like, I don't know, I think he died in a horse riding accident at like 104 or something. Like, that's how the story goes.
Oh, speaking of which, speaking of that, did you see? This was a fun, nice, feel-good story that the oldest person I know in France, maybe oldest known person in Europe, is a nun who lived through the 1918 vaccine. She is 117 years old. She lived through the 1918 flu. She lived through both world wars. She lived through everything. And she got COVID a few months ago and has recovered. She's 117. And they said she was, it was like her birthday recently, and she was looking forward. She's a nun. They showed her, like I saw this picture of her in a wheelchair, and they said she's very tired right now because she's been doing a lot of interviews. So like she wasn't able to talk at the moment, but she's really looking forward to having a glass of champagne on her birthday. And I just like, how much do you love that nun? You need to find the story. That made me so happy, right? Like 107. I dig nuns, first of all. I have more good nun memories going to Catholic school than like angry nun memories. So I've met a lot of the coolest people I know that I've met in my life who seem like happiest and really doing a lot of good for others have been nuns. So we have some family members on the Catholic side of our family who are nuns. So I'm just a fan in general of nuns. They're badass. A lot of badasses who are nuns. Badass, as your daughter would say, as your 4-year-old daughter says. Story for another day. But anyway, clearly, if you're 117 and a nun, you're sort of a badass.
Yeah.
And surviving COVID. So cool. Anyway.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a good finish on a Friday, I thought.
Yeah. All right. That's a feel-good finish. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. And come through next week. We're gonna have a musical guest, and we're gonna make Swedish bitters. And I think we should give away a pack of the herbs next week too. So tune in next week.
Yeah, we will do that.
So you can make it too, and then we can all try it together. All right.
Thank you for joining us. Peace out. Have a good one, everybody.
Peace.